pinch punch end of the month, I guess. So yeah, welcome everybody. As we wind into another Q&A session. You have been queuing. Hopefully we will be A-ing. I don't know. This is Ashley. I guess sort of, I was going to say hosting, but it's more sort of comparing, I guess. Because Owen is here, we'll be running through the comments and all that you lovely people have provided. And also AJ's here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Probably a lot more here than I am.
Yeah.
It might be about even, though. I can tell by your demeanor that it's kind of might be a little different today.
I just haven't been sleeping much. That's all mine is.
That's my guess. That was my guess. Honestly, that's usually what it is.
So as Bri points out first in the stuff, we might as well get the poll ready. So I better remember what to do. Oh, it's now in the engage section. Right. Movie Club poll. So I think.
So as Ashley typed.
I think from what the order from last time was you, Owen, then AJ, then Chris, then me.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that they go up in that order. Have to add options and whatever. Right. So, Owen, is you were the first to bat. You're the first to bat as well this time for your selection.
Apparently. So the fun thing about this one is that I've already told AJ my pick here, and he's the only one that knows. This is a movie that goes against almost anything I've ever brought to Movie Club, except it does tie into one thing that has been a constant when it comes to a lot of my pick. We still have some boxing involved in this one. Slightly. It is a thriller. And this is a director that has not been on this channel fairly often. We're going a little later in the time, and we're going to go back to 1998. This is a movie I still quote to this day. One specific line from one act of the movie. And AJ knows exactly where I'm going with this. And if you've never seen the movie, this will make no sense to you. But I can assure you, everybody loves Rick Santoro. My pick for Popcast Movie Club is Brian De Palma's Snake Eyes.
A lot of people may not know this, but Snake Eyes is also when Cage famously says, "You've got all this bitchin' technology." That's a famous.
Yeah.
So next up, your pick, AJ.
I'm really excited about this one. It's a directorial debut. It's from an Oscar-winning screenwriter. He didn't have his Oscar. He was like 2 years away from his Oscar, but it was coming. And it was basically, this person had kind of had their breakout in indies before already. This was like a big breakout leading role for this now Oscar winner. A lot of credentials behind this movie. It's Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Yes.
The directorial the incredible directorial debut of George Clooney and written by Charlie Kaufman. And you would say pretty much the start of Sam Rockwell kind of ruling the world, right?
A movie that the two of us had a great theatrical experience in when it first came out.
It was out for what, like a week?
Yep.
I still have the Mylar.
Yes, you do. I was thinking, I thought I gave it to you. I didn't know if I still had it. I left it there, or if I gave that one to you. Do you have the big one or the small one?
I think it's the small one.
I swore I got both of them.
That still feels like a trophy to me because of how short its run was.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what that was back in the day. When you worked at a movie theater, the small Mylars were a bigger get than the bigger ones were. But then again, most people wanted certain things, and there was a box, and you could just grab whatever you wanted. And I was in control of the poster room, so I made sure that I got everything I wanted, made sure everybody around me got what they wanted in more ways than one. And needless to say, it was nice because I have this huge thing of posters that AJ reaped the benefits of quite frequently.
I think the one I'm most psyched about, I think, is having the big Mylar for when we had It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve.
Yes, I remember that.
So next is
Love that movie. Have not seen it in forever.
Next is Chris's selection.
I hope Spencer's ready for this.
Ooh, baby.
God.
You have seen the verses. Now we all get to talk about it together. My brother's pick is Pacific Heights.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Well, at least we know what's going to get at least one vote.
I'm just going to sit back and be the narrator of that show because I have a feeling it's going to get real interesting real fast.
And then finally, me. And I go to one that I was considering for the first round of these, over a year ago. It's been there on AJ's hard drive, waiting to actually be selected. So, the film that nobody's going to pick because it's too obscure, but I want to do some satirical comedy stuff. The Rise and Rise of Michael Rimmer. The best I can say is it's maybe a British version of The Candidate to some extent, but it's way more satirical and probably way more dark comedy. I don't know why I'm trying to pump it up. It's not gonna, or hump it up because there is sex. Because it's the 70s. So there we go. Your 4 are there in the poll. Select away, other than if you're Spencer, in which case Pacific Heights by default.
I'm going to assume that's still hanging out on YouTube, which is where I found it.
I have double checked. I was sort of purposefully double checking to make sure it showed up in Owen's history so then he could watch it on his account. And one of them got pulled, but the other one is still around there. But if you search for it on Google, video search, videos over 20 minutes, there's multiple other places as well, in case the YouTube one does get yanked.
Okay.
So there you go. The poll is running.
Your poll is up now, so you vote for what you want to pick the first one to be 2 weeks from Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll be reconvening when it comes to Popcast Movie Club for this first pick on June 11th.
So we'll leave that rolling. So, Owen, do you want to run us through everybody in the chat?
Dear God, that we've already started. Like Ashley mentioned about answering all the questions. Basically, I put it, we're going to A all the Qs. If you're a Kevin Smith fan, you know what I'm talking about. I like that tweet. So here's the thing. We do have a very loyal fan base, and we have a very active chat like we always do. Given the circumstances, unless there's drastic things that change, I'm putting a hard cut at 7 o'clock on the chat. We've already had things that have been sent out since about an hour, actually. So we've got Spencer's here, of course. We'll get to his Pacific Heights commentary in a few. Josie's here. Brian's here.
No sighting
I'm
of
sure there's
AJ's
people
dad
lurking
this
around,
time, is there?
like random AJ's dad sightings from last night.
He said that he was looking for something else and he came across it by accident.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that excuse.
And it was like of all
there we go.
Of all the random.
Yeah, I buy that. I really do. Because you could just randomly bump into things, honestly, on social media all the time. Like, you could possibly stumble onto a video. Live shows are a different story, but I mean, hey, you never know. So yeah, if you're here live or you are in archive, if you're live, feel free to leave a question in the commentary on the live chat. If you're in archive, feel free to leave a comment. We'll get to that down the line, probably as soon as 2 weeks from now when we're back here for another QA show. But as always, Q&A shows are generally on the Monday, and Movie Club is generally on the Sunday, but that, of course, has precedence taken by All Elite Wrestling. So, in 2 weeks after the first Movie Club pick, which is going to be selected tonight, we'll be back to the Monday, Tuesday because of Forbidden Door. So, and then it's the Wild Wild West in September and October, but we'll get there eventually. First things first, Brian asks, thoughts on Can?
Not many.
Yeah, it was sort of like everything that I thought was gonna get good reviews did. You know, Koreeda's Monster seemed to be well received. I think Todd Haynes' May December got pretty good write-ups. Asteroid City had that very sort of like, as if it's now become a trend to hate on Wes Anderson. Because reasons.
I was talking to Owen about this. From the sounds of it, the people that didn't like Asteroid City are talking about it the way the people that didn't like the French Dispatch.
Oh.
So that makes me really optimistic for Asteroid City. Like if Asteroid City is disliked for the reasons the French Dispatch was disliked, I'm probably gonna love it.
What I'm gonna find fascinating is because I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as good as some of his recent stuff, but everything that it seems to be sort of the way it's been presented in the trailers, it looks better to me than French Dispatch. You know, French Dispatch always had me in a sort of erring mood, whereas Asteroid City, I'm looking forward to see what happens because there's still intrigue as to what's actually going on. Whereas sort of with French Dispatch, you sort of somewhat had what was going on in the trailers. Doesn't help when it's 3 stories for like every 90, 100 minutes or whatever, whereas at least this is just one interwoven story with Asteroid City, probably.
See, the thing about Asteroid City that I'm happy about is I finally got to see a theatrical trailer for it. I've done everything I could. I feel like with Wes Anderson movies, you need to see a theatrical trailer. And except for the absolute genius that did a Wes Anderson parody of Lord of the Rings, which I thought that was fantastic. Found that across my Twitter feed one day. That was awesome. Definitely recommend that. But I want to see a Wes Anderson trailer theatrically. And it took forever, but luckily, my second viewing of Blackberry, I was finally able to get one. And it looks just as great as I think it's going to be. I'm super excited for Asteroid City, and I'm probably going to put a lot of my my hopes this season on that on air and on Blackberry, at least at this very moment. I feel like those are going to be my horses in the race.
Zone of Interest also has a lot of interest and promise, especially with its grand jury win. Also, I heard good things about How to Have Sex, which was as part of the Uncertain Regard section, which was an interesting depiction of consent and nights out sort of thing, which intrigues me. And then in terms of the outer competition / big ones, I'm intrigued to see where Elemental goes. I'm hoping it's a return to form for Pixar after arguably what was a bad miss in Lightyear. And to be fair, quite a few of the Pixar ones have been less than exceptional. Soul was still good, but I think the one before that was Toy Story 4, wasn't it? Oh no, Turning Red Pixar. Turning Red was Pixar. That was pretty good.
Wow. It's really been that long since I've seen a Pixar movie theatrically?
Yeah, because they dumped Turning Red on Disney Plus,
really
even though it was a good film.
God dang it. I mean, honestly, the first teaser trailer that I saw for Elemental, I wasn't interested in it, so I feel that it's going to deliver, but we'll see. I hope so. Now I know I'm going to see it in the theater, so that's helpful. Killers of the Flower Moon looks phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, having seen the sort of trailer for it, I'm wondering how much of the stuff that's in the trailer isn't actually in the film, and it's like, but it's 3.5 hours. You don't cut anything out. I do like the whole depiction, though, of the whole line of the trailer is, "Do you see the monster in this picture?" Which, considering the subject matter about oil and the Native Americans, interesting. And then the swan song for Indiana Jones, getting, as I expected, sort of mixed reviews. Because it does feel like they've done it to try and make good for what happened with Crystal Skull, but at the same time,
Crystal Skull, yeah.
At the same time, like, is it worth it? Okay, he got an honorary, Palme d'Or, as did Michael Douglas, but
the thing that worries me about Indiana Jones is that the thing that was really giving me, I'm not passionate about Indiana Jones in general.
Sure.
So I kind of went in neutral anyway, but the thing that actually really gave me hope was hiring Mangold. Because Mangold can do anything. And he can do anything very well. And some of the stuff I was seeing was saying it feels very like a director for hire job from him rather than a regular Mangold job, which feels like such a waste. So that's unfortunate.
So you're saying Indiana Jones is Mangold's cop-out?
It could be.
Ooh, the trailer doesn't look bad, and
I'm not one of those people that immediately hears reviews and think, oh, well, then that's my opinion of the movie, which too many people do. But
yep.
But like I said, I'm not that passionate about Indiana Jones anyway, so So I went from back to oh.
It went from, and I was like,
Well,
tension mounting.
it was like me in slow motion falling at the mini golf course down the stairs. If you saw it, it was probably one of the funniest things in the world, but it was in absolute dead silence when it happened. I'm literally AJ knows. He obviously would know better than Ashley. I'm very competitive when it comes to mini golf. I always have been throughout the years. And one of the things that you have on a lot of the mini golf courses, and the one that's here at Universal, is it's a sci-fi course and a horror course, and they're both 18 holes of themed mini golf. Well, one of them is you're going down a set of stairs, and I lost my balance. So I go from the first set of stairs, and it's like I'm falling face first towards the ground, and I'm not making a noise. Apparently, I didn't scream, I didn't yell, you didn't hear me like move at all. The next thing you know, it's just like I'm staying on the top step, and I slip, and I catch myself, but all of a sudden I feel like I'm falling towards the ground, and I stop myself before I connect. And apparently, it's one of the funniest things my friends here have ever seen. So. It's one of those weird things. So I understand. And also with AJ talking about how Indiana Jones isn't necessarily his jam. Obviously, given the fact of what Indiana Jones is not the biggest fan of, makes me a little more hesitant about Indiana Jones movies. But to be fair, the ones that have come out theatrically throughout the last 20 years have been none at all. So it's been easier. But I've been more of a fan of the theme park rides and the theme park experiences than the movies themselves. Like the Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland is easily one of the best rides I've ever been on, and the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is a really enjoyable live stunt show that they butchered after the world reopened. But that's beside the point. Thing is, I like that interaction more than I like the movies. I've never been a huge mark for the Indiana Jones movies, but I see their relevance. Unlike Transformers, which I started out liking, but I'm like, it's kind of fallen off as the years have gone by. Yeah, I'm trying to be kind on that, actually, as best I can be.
I mean, I'm in the camp that Bumblebee is fine.
Yeah, sure.
But
Bumblebee is fine.
Yeah.
That might be the last one I saw, actually, to be quite honest with you.
Well, what's funny is with the Transformers movies, everybody's all like, "Oh, but the first one's so great. The rest just suck." And it's like, I don't know. I don't see much of a difference between the others and the first one.
It's fair.
So I will stand up for that one chase scene in the third movie that's only 3 minutes long. Everything else I don't care about.
Fair. Yeah, it's funny because Brian did mention those specifically in his question, talking about awards buzz for Killers of the Flower Moon, Zone of Interest, and mixed reactions to Indy and Elemental. So,
Of Interest is the Glazer movie, right?
I believe so. Yes.
I love Glazer so much, but apart from Kingsley's nomination for Sexy Beast, I don't think he's he's not really awards bound with the stuff that he tackles.
Also a fair assessment,
and I mean that in a good way.
Sure.
Because his movies are so fucking out of left field.
We'll see how the rest of Cannes affects things in about 3 months, almost to the day. So we'll get there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get there. Don't worry. New Blu-ray pickups, Brian. The first Avatar, Babylon, The Fablemans, everything, the movie we don't talk about, and The Big City and Thelma and Louise.
I'm assuming that's the Criterion Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, he got both of those in the mail today. Interesting. Thelma and Louise is a movie that I'm kind of surprised. I mean, we've talked about it on here before, but it's not something I've visited back since it came out. And usually, when I've come to that determination about a movie, I need to get a reason to watch it again. And the only reason I have to watch movies anymore, other than awards season, is sheer like dumb luck that something comes out to movie club, so I'd have to watch it. But that's because I got so much on my mind right now. Hence why I'm on camera currently. Brian says I did have a Man Called Otto, but I had to return it because the case was heavily damaged.
Well, damn, that doesn't happen very often.
That sucks. I'm guessing it must have been an Amazon pickup, Brian. Sure, we'll get there in a minute. So we've got 30 minutes till we close chat for the foreseeable future because we got a lot to talk about. Personal lineups of 2012. This is Brian's personal lineups of 2012. Best adapted screenplay nominees: Beast of the Southern Wild, The Hobbit, Life of Pi, The Sessions, and his winner is Frankenweenie.
Okay, yeah, when he says The Hobbit, that's an unexpected journey. That was 2012, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I don't really hate that. Like I said, that's the one Hobbit movie I'll get behind.
I'm with him on everything except for Hobbit. The Hobbit has always been my favorite Tolkien story. Back to that VHS copy I had when I was a kid that I accidentally recorded over part of, so we had to buy the tape. But for some reason, my favorite Tolkien story made the worst movie, to me, personally.
This is 2012 adapted. Did he not say Silver Linings Playbook?
He did not go with the best movie of that year, no.
I'm curious how you feel about that.
I feel very badly about that. He is wrong, and that is okay. Nah, honestly, movies are preferential, Brian. If that's what you want to go with, that's what you went with. Best original screenplay: Flight, Moonrise Kingdom, Wreck-It Ralph, Zero Dark 30, and the winner. Oh, you redeemed yourself. Django.
I still don't know what the fuck I think of Zero Dark 30. I don't think I like it, but I don't know.
I clearly liked it more than you did, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's still not something you'd want to revisit unless you have to.
I love that Wreck-It Ralph is there. By the way, it's just occurring to me that Perks of Being a Wallflower wasn't an adapted, was it?
No, it was not.
I don't know how I feel about that. But...
That's a problem, too. Best Supporting Actress: Anne Hathaway for Les Mis, Helen Hunt for The Sessions, Isabelle Huppert for Amour, Jane Lynch for Wreck-It Ralph. And his win for Supporting Actress is Sarah Silverman.
For Wreck-It Ralph or Take This Waltz? Wreck-It Ralph, I'm
For Ralph.
That's, yeah, I dig that.
I'm okay with that.
Because I put her in that year for Take This Waltz, yeah. But I have no problems whatsoever with putting her in for Wreck-It Ralph. That's like, Vanellope is iconic.
Oh,
to
totally.
Me.
That's the reason why she's one of the only she's the only non-named character in Wreck-It Ralph that gets a meet and greet on Disney property. She's the only other character in the movie other than Ralph that gets a meet and greet character.
Nice.
She has her own area and everything. Best Supporting Actor: Dwight Henry, Beast of the Southern Wild, Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln, Jack McBrayer for Wreck-It Ralph, Bruce Willis for Moonrise Kingdom, and his winner is Sam Jackson.
Well done, Brian, on all 5 of those.
I'm totally down with that.
I love Jack McBrayer especially.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite lines in Wreck-It Ralph is I gotta make sure I get it right. That's not blunt force trauma, ma'am. That's just the honey glow in my cheeks.
Yes. Good Lord. Spencer, I'll get to your comments in a second. I just want to finish Brian's lineup first. Best Actress: Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30, Kara Hayward for Moonrise Kingdom, you know it, Jennifer Lawrence for Silver Linings Playbook, Manuel Riva for Amour, And his winner is Quevenchine Wallace.
Okay. Yeah, it's that thing. I've made it known over the years how much I love Chastain.
Mm-hmm.
Zero Dark 30 is one of her most acclaimed performances. I genuinely think my least favorite Jessica Chastain performance is Zero Dark 30.
Sounds about right.
It just feels like it's trying way too hard.
Speaking of trying way too hard, I was not an Amour fan, so... but it does have, obviously, a lot of fans out there, so... And my bias toward Jennifer Lawrence aside, which we're going to see again in a couple of months, I'm very happy Kara Hayward's here.
Yeah.
I love Moonrise Kingdom greatly.
It is interesting to me how you would think Moonrise Kingdom would be a star-making term, but I feel like she's been a glorified extra in pretty much everything she's been in since Moonrise Kingdom.
Not an incorrect statement.
Because she's basically in the background of Us, which is random. And she had a small part in Patterson, the Jarmusch movie with Adam Driver.
That makes sense.
That's about all I remember. And I think there's been a couple more Wes Anderson movies where she's just kind of hanging around, but yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I get to throw out my not wearing my glasses right now. So I get to throw out my trying my pronunciation skills. Best actor: Hugh Jackman for Les Mis, John C. Reilly for Wreck-It Ralph. Is it Jean-Louis Trintignant for Amour?
No, but I know who you're talking about. So
I'm just sounding out what it says. JLT for Amour.
There you go.
Denzel for Flight, and the winner is Tom Holland.
For The Impossible?
Yes.
That's fair.
I like that movie a lot. I'm super biased towards a performance of that year that's not listed on there, so. And I also noticed that you didn't go for the obvious answers in Django. You went for the not so obvious answer in Django. But I still love Steven. That character's amazing. And everybody should.
Yeah.
So, Best Director, Peter Jackson for Unexpected Journey. J.A. Bayona for The Impossible. I approve greatly. Kirby Dick for The Invisible War. Tom Hooper for Les Mis. And Brian, well done, for Django, is the winner.
Hooper's a bold choice.
Hooper is a very bold choice. And I think that is the end of... Nope, Best Picture.
Down the Best Picture list, yeah.
I had to find it because it's down. Beast of the Southern Wild. Flight. Frankenweenie. Unexpected Journey. The Impossible. The Invisible War. Les Mis. The Sessions. And Wreck-It Ralph.
That's quite a bit of love for Flight. That's kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
Because Flight, I felt like Denzel kind of had to carry Flight.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Denzel carries anything, it's gonna be great regardless. But yeah.
Hold on, Brian has some answers. Got a Man Called Otto off Walmart. Yeah, that makes sense. Perks of Being a Wallflower wasn't Oscar nominated. It's only Oscar nominated movies of 2012. It's not every movie of 2012.
What he just said makes perfect sense because I ordered the French Dispatch from Walmart and I got it damaged. I had to take it back.
Oh, that's horrible.
Good job, Walmart.
Well, if it's worth doing right. I'm trying to get everybody's chat messages on here. Yeah, we got everybody taken care of now, and we are moving on to Spencer's comment. And then we'll go. I'll try to get everything in order as best I can. Okay. Spencer's next comment. Rank the Final Destination films.
Well, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. Because 1 and 3 are genuinely good. five is good for what it is, and like, I think the ending really helps. Like like when you look at how they genuinely planned that out. Like I just appreciate that they were doing Final Destination 5 and they actually put thought into it.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. I know two's reputation is high because the kills are so wild and
Sure.
the initial crash scene is so famous, but two's pretty fucking ridiculous too. Like it's the one that kind of the second movie has a few jumping the shark moments, I think. And four pretty much just exists for the 3D gimmick.
I mean,
That's another upside to 5. Is 5 was also 3D, but they also took it seriously. They brought in like the people that worked on Avatar to work on Final Destination 5. The only thing carrying 4 was Michael T. Williamson, pretty much. He's the only like sense of depth we get in it.
I think I'm obviously biased towards 3 because of the opening scene, for good reason.
Yeah, 3 is really good. 3's like has a lot of clever sort of tweaks to it.
The touch I like.
I guess
3 is the DVD like thrill ride version, where you get like, I wouldn't say deleted scenes, but like the chance to sort of, they die, well, apart from the ending choice, which is just a bait and switch. But like the deaths, they actually did like different variants of the deaths. So by having the thrill ride version, you can see like, what if they put up the solarium temperature a couple of degrees hotter? Because it's a different fate. They still die, but different things happen.
I will say I was kind of sad because they had a proven like winner in the beginning and it just didn't stick with it. I'm sorry. I feel like the voice of death should have been John Denver every single time. You committed to it, and it's like, nope, no more.
Well, it only really makes sense for the first one because of the plane.
Because of the plane crash, yeah. But honestly, they could have just made John Denver music be the how you knew death was coming.
I like that the voice on the intercom in 3 is Tony Todd.
That is cool. Okay.
From what I remember,
Favorite Western and least favorite Western of all time.
That?
What'd you say, Ashley? You said something and then I stopped
I was
you.
going to say, from what I remember, Final Destination 4, which I would put at the low, was advertised over here as Final Destination 3D. They neglect to call that now. For obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, real quick, by the way, Django was the winner for Best Picture from Brian.
Yeah, good.
And I'll never get a Blu-ray from Walmart again, says he. I didn't forget to say it, Brian. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, best and worst Western.
Favorite and yeah, best.
I don't know.
Favorite Western.
I don't know that I have a definitive favorite Western. Just like when I get that question, like 10 jump into my head like all at once at the same time. And probably at least half of them are Anthony Mann. Like Winchester 73 and The Man from Laramie, stuff like that. I think if I had to have a go-to top one, it would probably be Once Upon a Time in the West. But I obviously stuff like Django comes to mind, but I'm trying to think more like classic westerns, like the Searchers and the Man Who Stole Liberty Valance. This is all stuff. The Cowboys. This is all stuff that just comes to mind all at once. I would think the worst ones are probably like comedies, like the Adam Sandler one and like A Million Ways to Die in the West and stuff like that.
And funny enough, probably Cimarron.
Some of the worst I think I'd say is basically those sort of Italian ones from the 60s that literally just like, well, we know that was filmed, we know A Fistful of Dollars was filmed at that place. Let's just take our crew and film a film there and say, oh, look how great it is. And it's sort of like, there's no idea. They're just doing it to try and milk off the fact that, look, this is the place from that classic film that you like. A lot of them are sort of pretentious, whereas, you know, the Western aspect for a lot of those comedy things is it's sort of just a setting rather than an actual sort of purpose to it. Whereas a lot of those B-movie style things from the 60s to cash in, you know, I've seen a few of them here and there, and it's just like, why did they bother?
Another one I forgot to mention for a great one, a really great one, is My Name Is Nobody with Henry Fonda. I kind of feel like, obviously John Wayne is John Wayne, obviously, but two signs for me that a Western is going to be great is if either Jimmy Stewart's in it or Henry Fonda's in it. That's usually a really good sign.
It's funny you mentioned that, AJ, because that ties into the next question. Favorite John Wayne film?
One of those three I just said. This Searchers, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, or The Cowboys. Probably The Searchers. No, to get off of Westerns, I also loved Sands of Iwo Jima. And it's like watching Sands of Iwo Jima at my dad's first apartment after he moved out is like a core memory that I love.
I remember watching The Quiet Man in my college class.
Yeah. Seeing, I think that was a couple of years ago now, on St. Patrick's Day, they had a Fathom event for The Quiet Man. That was great. I love seeing that movie as big as it can get.
That's what I'd probably go for, just because it wasn't a Western. It like showed that John Wayne knows how to do like normal films rather than just Western.
Favorite animation style and least favorite?
Least favorite is it's been going on for forever now, but it's still like I hate it. What's with the really bright shit now? That's like, oh, and remember when we saw Space Chimps in 2008?
Yes.
Apparently, that's what like all current kids shows look like now. And it looks cheap and unfinished. And these are like stuff like when you look at like Paw Patrol or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can't believe that's what children watch all day. It's like, how are they not blind?
Maybe they're desensitized to it by now, which is good to have it start early.
I caught glimpses of something once. I can't remember the name now. It's like this. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. They were cars that were like mainly on like dirt roads, and they go into like canyons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But everything just looks bright and disjointed. I don't know what the fuck it is, but these are like really popular shows. It's crazy to me that that's where like animation is now. When I think of animation, I love this probably feels cheap and obvious, but when I think of a style of animation I love so much, I go back to like Snow White.
Yeah, of course.
Which I know is cheap because it was like the first animated movie ever. But yeah, just the classic hand-drawn stuff. Even like when they were doing that in the 90s, also in the 80s. It's like that's why I love The Princess and the Frog so much.
Frog, yeah.
Because it's like you can still do that. You're just choosing not to for some fucked up reason.
You literally just read my mind. You said Princess and the Frog, because that was the first thing that I immediately jumped to.
Because everything like when I think of I know Pixar is Pixar, and we've talked about stuff, and Disney we've talked about how much we just talked about how much we love Wreck-It Ralph, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But there's still outside of hand drawn, there's just a soullessness to me going on for most movies. So I think that's another reason why I've been so disconnected with animation for so long. Was it just feels soulless when it's like computers now.
Well, it's weird because one of the animation styles that I don't like, the example that I immediately jump to is Batman Beyond. I hate the way that looks. I just hate it. And I know a lot of people absolutely love that show, but I hate the way that's drawn. I hate the way that the new Mickey Mouse cartoons are drawn. It just doesn't look right. I can't explain why. It just doesn't look right to me.
My favourite's probably claymation or anything that's sort of hand done. Because I don't know whether all of Leica is clay sort of stuff. Just because like you can actually see, and like because it takes so long to make, you know a lot of effort's gone into it. And I'm trying to work out whether I think the worst is like just shoddy looking sort of like stock bought CGI that's been put together because they think that will please the kids, because the kids don't know any better. You see it a lot in I don't think it would have been Asylum, but whoever the studios are that try and do the knockoff kid films, like the knockoff the knockoff Up or whatever, and the knockoff Cars,
Right.
those sort of things that go straight to DVD, because it's just like, yeah, the kids will sit in front of that, that sort of thing. I also would like to give, I know it won't make it into a movie club because, well, maybe it will if I find a way to basically get a couple of short movies put together, but make it sort of a 2-for-1, because there won't be much to talk about with either of them. So I'll save it. But there is a Christmas film that is infamous for being animated and pretty shit. So you might be getting that if you're gonna get your coal. That's if I don't forget to Get Santa in again this year. So I guess 2024, everybody. That animated film and another thing that's Christmas related.
Favorite late in career performance by an actor or actress?
For me, one of the ultimate all-time veteran performances would be Jack Lemmon and Gary Glenn Ross. And before I've sung the praises of Pete Postlethwaite in The Town.
Oh yeah,
those are the first two that come to mind.
Peter Sellers for being there.
Yeah,
I would say. Like, I think of that now more often as like his magnum opus, rather than, the Pink Panthers, or the supporting role in What's New Pussycat, or the 59,000 roles that he did in Strangelove.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Shit, I had somebody and then I lost it. Oh, I was gonna say, an obvious one would be Bruce Dern in Nebraska, but Bruce Dern's been killing it in everything he's been in for like the last 15 years. When he started showing up in basically everything. Are we counting everybody that's in The Irishman? I mean, obviously they're still. I mean, at least a couple of them are still very active, but like I'd say you could count that for Pesci as a very late career move.
I'd also give a shout out to the last year or so of Christopher Plummer. Having to
Yeah,
take space stuff for all the money in the world, the invention of Christmas, the Charles Dickens thing. He's
that's
really
what
good, and Knives Out is like.
that's that's what was so fucked up about Plummer is Plummer was so on fire. He died at 91 and it felt unexpected. Like who else can you say that about? Because he was on fucking fire and he was in his fucking 90s.
I don't think I really have an answer to this. I guess if I want to cop out. The only thing I can think of is like maybe Phil Hartman in News Radio.
Yeah, I was thinking about that where it's like late in the career for the span of their career. Like even if we lost them, like I was kind of thinking about that when I said Postlethwaite. Whereas like Postlethwaite, I'm sure would still be working if it weren't for fucking cancer.
Sure. Can you name an example where a director's first three movies are awesome, are no misses in the first three films they make?
I mean, there's some obvious ones like PTA would be up there with Hard Eight, Boogie Nights, and Magnolia. Tarantino's an obvious answer. A lot of the usual suspects. I'm trying to veer off them. People with short filmographies right now are too obvious too. Like Martin McDonagh and Bennett Miller would be obvious answers. For my money, it was a really great run. Was Sam Mendes having, if I'm not mistaken, his first three were American Beauty, Road to Perdition, and Jarhead. Mm-hmm. That's a great run to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fair
Kevin
because
Smith.
It's before he became big.
Yeah.
But Nolan, with following Memento and Insomnia, all coming right before Batman. And The Prestige, I guess, within a year of that as well. So
I like
Peter Berg.
So his were what? Very Bad Things,
Rundown, and Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
It's probably solid. And we all heart Peter Berg on this network. So
I mean, I'm with you on Kevin Smith, but I do think we should note that Mallrats is significantly lower in quality than Clerks and Chasing Amy.
I love all of them, so I have to be. I've always been super biased when it comes to that.
I need Tom Ford to make another movie so he can make this list.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody I'm not thinking of. This is not an easy list.
Yeah, because you would think, like, a lot of people would spring to mind easily, like Linklater, but then you remember technically, like, his first movie was that one with like the really long title. That's just kind of like a series of images.
Yes,
that's not really that standout. Like he wasn't Linklater until Slacker, obviously. So yeah, it's harder than you'd suspect.
We didn't mention.
No, that's horrible. Never mind. I was looking at somebody and I'm like, no, I hated both of those movies. No.
We didn't mention Tarantino for obvious reasons because I think it's as a given.
Because another default answer is the Coen brothers. Millers, but I'm not I mean, obviously they have their own reputations, and technically they're a right answer. But I don't really have the passion for Blood Simple or Miller's Crossing that I do for the rest of their filmography.
That's fair.
But they're still like a definitive answer technically. You can't say Cameron because you have to go through Piranha 2.
And nope, definitely can't do that because he doesn't have that many. It's not gonna work either. I'm looking at more people.
Well, somebody that we've touched on previously, Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
For Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and Scott Pilgrim. Although technically, I do enjoy Fistful of Fingers. That's a damn good thing. Although apparently it's lost to time. Maybe. I don't know.
Jason Reitman has Thank You for Smoking, Juno, and Up in the Air.
That's a great lineup right there.
I think Juno and Up in the Air are far superior to Thank You for Smoking, but I understand Thank You for Smoking's love that it gets.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's a great option.
Jordan Peele's also another Bennett Miller, where it's like, well, he's just happened to have made only 3 great ones so far, but there's still 3.
Hold on, I have to check this one first before I can answer this. I like this because this is a nice time killer while we're waiting for Ashley to return.
I didn't realize he left again.
Yep. It happens from time to time. No, I can't.
Part of me wants to say Spike Jonze, but he's another one where it's technically right, but I don't love Her the way everybody does.
Yeah, fair.
I keep wanting to say Van Zandt, but his first movie was like that really weird student film that was just.
Not. Nope, can't use that one either. Never mind. Ashley, have any more answers before we move forward?
Not off the top of my head.
I mean, I'm just looking at a list of like directorial debuts and just going through their catalog.
Wait a minute. What are Tim Burton's first 3? Does it go Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Batman, Beetlejuice, Batman?
That sounds logical.
That's fucking solid.
Yeah. Trying to see. Oh, wait a minute. There's someone I've defended numerous times on here. I might actually be able to say it. Let's see. Direct. Yeah, Cameron Crowe.
Did he start with Say Anything?
Say Anything, Singles, Jerry Maguire, then Almost Famous, and Vanilla Sky.
God, Jerry Maguire was only his 3rd?
Yeah.
Wow.
And obviously I will defend Elizabethtown and Aloha to my dying day, but
oh man. Oh, I got a good one.
Go ahead.
The Farrelly Brothers. Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin, There's Something About Mary.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a trifecta of incredible.
So I feel like we are needing to move forward at this point. We're never gonna get out of this one.
We've been in on this one a long time, haven't we?
I like this question. By the way, chat is officially closed. Next week. 2 weeks. Bring more questions. Oh man. Spencer, you get the last comment. That was it. Okay, well, Brian's continuing the either or gimmick, so technically speaking, once you're done, we're finished.
I almost just vigorously jumped in with Michael Mann, but then I forgot about the keep.
Oh, yeah. Rob. Most pretentious movie you've ever sat through.
A pigeon sat on a branch reflecting on existence, probably. All you have to do is say the title and you already know. I mean, there's some nice imagery, but for fuck's sake.
I know the answer to this, but I honestly can't remember what it is.
Assumed you would say like a Malick movie or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe like, yeah, Tree of Life comes to mind.
Here's the problem with Malick though, is I don't think Malick is pretentious. I just don't think the narrative medium, like him trying to frame his movies as narratives, I think is where he's not quite putting his filmmaking style in the right place, rather than him making pretentious movies.
I'm looking at this list that IMDb has of pretentious movies, and honestly, there's a lot of these movies I like. So,
If it came from IMDb, it's probably the person who made that list is probably more pretentious than the movies they list.
see that being it. Can I just? Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the list. I feel like it's probably going to be my answer. I'm going to go with Antichrist.
That's fair. I will. There's a lot of cases where I will defend Von Trier. Not things he's said, things he's made. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely abhor that movie.
But he made Dogville and he made Europa, so I can't ever be mad at him.
That's fair.
And the house that Jack built's pretty fucking wild.
Melancholia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tempted to say Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close.
Oh, Elick was a rough movie.
Can you still think a movie's good and accuse it of being pretentious?
You 100% can.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it's good.
Aronofsky's Mother.
Oh God.
I see that list a lot, actually.
Aronofsky's Mother comes to mind.
I'm surprised there isn't, having looked at to try and get some inspiration for the IMDb list. I'm surprised there is less Aronofsky in that list. I think the only two that showed up were Mother and Requiem for a Dream. But this other list has got one that I also remember now, The Fountain. That's okay.
Yeah, what's funny is my mind stepping stone to get to Mother started with me almost saying Black Swan.
I figured that was coming.
Sorry.
That was so long ago. It's fine. Maybe I wouldn't defend it as much as I did back then. I probably would. I did enjoy the movie.
Is it funny that I'm still scanning my shelves to see if I can find an answer for pretentious movies?
Nope.
What do I happen to own that's really pretentious?
God dang it. Oh my God. I keep forgetting about all that stuff. We gotta go faster. It's my fault, as always.
So,
Even when I'm not on camera, it's still my fault.
I say we can probably continue.
Actually, I'm going to continue with this one. If you could take away any of Return of the King's 11 Oscar wins, which one would it be?
Oh, picture's too obvious, so I don't want to go with that.
Hold on, I gotta see what what it competed against because I don't remember this season very much.
The first thing that comes to mind is I would take away adapted screenplay and give that to Mystic River.
Where can I find this? What year was this again officially?
2003. So the awards year was 2004.
Okay, 2004. I gotta find it. Yeah, get that.
Well, I know what you're gonna say already before we even say it.
Probably.
You're gonna take away Song and give it to A Mighty Wind. I think that's what.
Darn right I am. 100%. There's no reason not to. What year was this? Was this ceremony?
The ceremony was 2004.
I gotta find it. This is not They don't make this easy on Wikipedia to find this stuff.
If I was to take away picture, I'd give it to Mystic River too. So, but I'll say adapted because picture's too obvious. And I get I know it seems like a cop out, but the idea of Return of the King getting picture as an award for the whole trilogy does make sense. So that's why I'm not taking picture away.
All right. Let's see. I will. Because I didn't want it to win anything. I was upset when it did, remember?
Well, I know.
I'd be very surprised if you picked something other than Song.
Yeah.
Mystic River for picture. Eastwood for director. You don't... yeah. Let's see. What else we got? Mystic River for adapted. Score for Big Fish.
One.
Yeah, Song is definitely kissing.
How incredible would it be if Danny Elfman was an Oscar winner?
Awesome.
I cannot believe we don't live in that world.
It's hard to say anything about mixing and editing because I never remember which one's which, but I guess if I was raining on the parade of Lord of the Rings, I probably would have given sound mixing to like Pirates.
Okay.
Don't worry, sound editing nor didn't even make the list, so.
Art direction's only competition I would have used would have been Last Samurai, so probably it might have kept that one. Makeup's fine. Costumes is fine. I guess editing's fine. Yeah, the Bourne Awards are pretty much set in stone, but a lot of the higher tier levels I probably would have given to Mystic River. I like these. This category's fun. Ashley, what would you take away from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, 11 Oscar wins?
I'm tempted to say costume design could go with a pearl earring.
Yeah, okay.
Makeup's probably fair. Editing, I'd give a good shout out to City of God, because that needs to be tight and fast paced and everything. Art direction, I'd agree with. Sound mixing, again, I'd probably go with Pirates, because sound editing, went to Master and Commander, and I don't want to give too many to two things. I'd shout out Newman's score for Finding Nemo. I like that.
Newman would have been my second guess, but I love the Big Fish score so much. Even though I know the Nemo score a lot better, I love the Big Fish score so much.
I'm too much of a fan of the Belleville Rendezvous song, just because they use that in the trailer all the time. In adapted, I might keep it as it is, just as a sort of make good for the film. Director, I'd probably give to Coppola for Lost in Translation. And I'm in two minds about Rings translation and River for picture. those would be my top 3 there. So
All right. Moving on. Favorite scene in a Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie?
oh, that's easy. I haven't seen one, so I will sit out.
I don't. Oh my god. I realized that I really like the second movie, but I don't know if I remember any specific scenes. Because I was just sitting here I was thinking about the Halloween scene, but the Halloween scene's in the first movie, right?
Right.
I was thinking it was in the second one, so that's yeah.
To be fair, I think AJ is probably going to agree with me on this one. We love this franchise so much that all of it is solid in different ways.
One's easy. The third one is when Roderick sings "Baby."
Yes. Oh my god, that's great.
The first one, I think mine are going to be all music related. Because I think my favorite scene in the first one is when Raleigh dances with his mom at the dance.
Great stuff.
But I love the Halloween stuff too. So
See,
yeah, I cannot remember. The only scene I specifically remember from the second movie is the opening scene at the roller rink.
yeah.
So maybe it's that by default. But I need to watch them again. It's been a long time.
Well, this is going to be a tough one for me, Spencer. So it's good that I had the Iggy about this category coming up. Top 3 favorite. It's about favorites and least favorites tonight, apparently. Least favorite Disney songs.
The top answer for me has to. Oh well, fuck.
Would Circle be your answer?
Circle of Life, Beauty and the Beast, and Hi Ho might be the top 3.
That's a great one.
I know I'm missing stuff. I find it very interesting. I went to 3 immediately, and none of them are villain songs.
There's so many great ones, though. I mean, I can't think of ones I don't like. I mean, there's probably some that I don't like that are from other, like, franchises and movies I don't enjoy. Like, I'm sure there's a car song. Like,
The main theme for the Hunchback of Notre Dame comes to mind. Too.
yeah. Oh, God, yes.
I wouldn't know where to start with worst.
I think we'll be. I think at this juncture we probably should just stick with favorites today.
I have a least favorite, but it's got an asterisk. My least favorite would have to be Morning Report, even though it technically doesn't exist.
That is also a fair assessment.
There is a copy out there somewhere of The Lion King that only has the version with Morning Report in it, and it throws off the flow so badly. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
And it's not a great song. Like that's it's like, oh, by the way, it's also not great.
Ashley, you have an answer for your 3 favorite Disney songs? Nope. So we're about to see shirt and then sound. Yep.
I don't have to get up. I've made it to go there. So I see. Circle of Life would certainly be one. I'd also put "You'll Be in My Heart" from Phil Collins for Tarzan, because it really is sort of a solid track. And probably "You're Welcome," just because it's like such a actual happy-go-lucky song.
That's a good one.
In terms of worst, I kind of want to say most of the tracks for Frozen 2? Because I don't remember them. They don't have the earworm catchiness that the first ones did. In all honesty,
Sure, of course not.
if it was the single anything out directly. Although I'm looking at this and I'm like, there's a DJ Khaled song for A Wrinkle in Time, and there's some random song from Miley Cyrus for Bolt, and
Yeah, I was trying to remember any from live action movies, good or bad.
there was an Avril Lavigne track for Alice in Wonderland. I am just finding this out now, and I saw these in the bloody cinema.
Yeah.
Also, I need to shout out one of the Oscar-winning ones. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? But it has to be the Elton John one during the credits, and not the one that's in like the movie.
I completely agree with that.
The movie one is fine, but that's Elton John's song all the way.
That's like the reverse of the Brad Kane and Lea Salonga version that's in the movie. But then you have the Regina Bell and Peebo Bryce version of A Whole New World that's on the credits.
Oh, damn, I didn't even think about Aladdin. There's so many in Aladdin. I love One Jump Ahead and Prince Ali are also.
One Jump Ahead is one of the most underrated Disney songs, I think, ever.
Yes, and Prince Ali. And, dare I say it, obviously Prince Ali in the animated version is obviously top tier. I mean, some of the lyric changes were weird, but the Will Smith version of Prince Ali actually was not bad.
Yeah, it's very Broadway version of Aladdin, and that's the version they were trying to play.
The only thing that threw me off was "Heard Your Princess is Hot, Where Is She?" is weird. Apart from that, they did really good at redoing that song. The
Whole New World.
The live action version of One Ahead is a disaster. They change way too many lyrics, and it's so off-putting. Like, it's good when you're expecting lyrics to One Jump Ahead and you get what you get there. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I'm sorry if my Aladdin is Scott Weinger and always will be.
Even though I'm pretty sure that's not his singing voice, but I get what you mean.
Right. Actually, wasn't it Christopher Daniel Barnes?
I am not entirely sure.
Could be wrong on that.
The only one I remember is Marlon Wayans' buddy that worked with him at the casino in The Lady Killers was the singer for Jonathan Taylor Thomas for The Lion King. Jason Weaver, I think his name is.
Yeah, I'd also.
I'm just it's Brett.
On a technicality, I would also include, because it now is Disney property for good songs, the Boggis Bunsen Bean song from Fantastic Mr. Fox. Knowing the text of it, Cocker did a very good job of like adapting it into a crazy little folk song.
I even said Brad Kane's name. Obviously, he's the Aladdin singing voice. Everybody knows that. I See the Light from Tangled. Lots of reasons, some of which I will go into, some of which I won't. Let's just put it this way: you make Mandy Moore a Disney princess, you've won me over. So, and that's before anything further than that. But yeah, a lot of really good stuff on the Encanto soundtrack. I know it's newer, but
Jesus, yeah.
Waiting for a Miracle that you introduced me to.
Encanto's whole soundtrack is. There's not one bad song in there. They all are awesome. Honestly, the one song in Encanto that doesn't stand out is the one that got nominated because it's the slow one.
Dig a little deeper. I have to throw out Princess and the Frog, of course. I Won't Say I'm in Love from Hercules is a good one. I've always enjoyed that song. There's I pretty much can like name
What
like
was-
stuff like all day long.
What was the song from the Princess Frog where you would do the Bayou song where you do your impression of Ray?
It's a little deeper. It's the last song in the Voices Princess and the Frog medley. So I mean, I'm very.
It's even better.
Very-
It's even better that we can't see you right now, so you have to do your Ray impression.
Jesus.
Your impression of Ray singing.
No matter what you look like.
Yeah, back then you had like at least half the song down.
No, you just wanted my impression, so I don't have to sing the rest of it. I know the words.
Oh.
That song's double meaning now. But yeah, lots of great answers I could give. Like some of my favorite Disney songs of all time. Aladdin is like one of my favorite Disney movies of all the time. Like music from Cinderella. I mean,
It's also
Randy Newman music from Toy Story.
It's also really brief, but there's something enchanting about the wishing well scene in Snow White also.
Speaking of Enchanted music actually comes to mind immediately.
I guess.
Hit home for me. So, moving forward, Spencer's answer, part of your world. When will my life begin? And for the first time from the new Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast as well. It's a tie. So we got that.
Obviously, it's a little embarrassing I didn't say this ahead of time, but obviously any of the songs happen behind me. I know everybody's thing was, oh, they feel like retreads or oh, they're unmemorable. Given who is singing them, I'm going to remember them, obviously.
Yes. Thoughts on Sleeping Beauty? There's a verses for that, Spencer.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty is appropriate subject matter for that movie because that movie is boring as fuck. Every rendition of it.
I like it, but I guess I'm a tad bit biased through life. Maybe not so much now. There's a reason why there's verses that exist because it is very similar to Snow White and Spencer.
My joke was going to be you were saying you were biased, and I was going to say, oh, and we're talking Disney, not Emily Browning.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Crazy Stupid Love.
What about Crazy Stupid Love?
Thoughts
That was
on
the
it?
next question, but Ashley had to know
I mean,
first.
yeah, because I have to keep forgetting this is like how it is on the news, and there's a 4-second delay. I mean, I'm okay with Sleeping Beauty. Don't think it's sort of massively outstanding. And Crazy Stupid Love, you know, I don't hate it, but I'm not like a big fan of it. But you know, it's enjoyable.
Sure.
I find it interesting when movies like Crazy Stupid Love can have twists in them. That's something that's unexpected. I remember liking it pretty well. I love the chemistry between Gosling and Steve Carell. The only thing I think is really weird about Crazy Stupid Love is the thing that everybody finds weird about it, which is the kid and the babysitter is a really weird subplot. I mean, that was like, in that kid's position, that was basically my fantasy growing up. But seeing it actually play out in adulthood, it's like, oh, that's actually really weird and fucked up.
All right. Favorite guilty pleasure movie? Spencer's answer is Alice Upside Down, which is straight to DVD Allison Stoner movie.
My go-to answer for this is always any of Elvis's movies.
Honestly, I feel like the answer is probably Moving Violations for me.
And And no, actually, I do have a definitive answer for this. That's not just all the Elvis movies. And I think I have stated this once before, and one of these days I will prove it. I can tell you every single line of dialogue in Big Bully, the Rick Moranis Tom Arnold movie.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Every single line of dialogue I can tell you from that movie.
I mean, movies that I brought to Movie Club, they would probably be guilty pleasures, but the definition is feeling guilty about it, and I don't. The only movie that I've referenced this on here, it's almost like it's destined to come to Movie Club at some point, but God help you if it ever does. Probably the biggest guilty pleasure when it comes to movies, AJ. Do you know what I'm going to say before I say it?
Not completely.
My answer is Angel 4 Undercover. I like the plot. No, seriously, I love the concept of the movie. It's so 90s, it's not even funny, but I like the concept of like the tortured artist basically like reaching out for help and no one hears him because they think it's just song lyrics, but nope. Spoiler alert, it's not. So an angel, of course, is an undercover cop that has to pose as a groupie to order to infiltrate Piston Harley. And Malcolm McDowell's in it. And he's the only name anyone knows it's in the movie. So I would say that would probably be 100% guilty pleasure of mine.
I mean, I guess
We're going to have to speed everything up a little bit.
I guess Mystery Science Theater 3000 helped, but I sort of feel a bit sort of double standard-esque because I talked about people from European countries making westerns. My probably favorite guilty pleasure is Operation 007 or Kid Brother or whatever. The thing which was just like, we've got all these people that aren't making Thunderball. Why don't we just make a not bomb film and we just get Sean Connery's real life brother to be not Sean Connery? And it's just so nonsensical. Probably helped by MST3K, to be fair. That jump cut from like the bloody kitten circus parade thing, and then it literally cuts to the boss of like the evil thing, which is Anthony, what's his name? AJ? From bumming Dr. No, that played Blofeld.
Anthony Dawson.
Yeah. He's there as the boss, and it just flash cut straight to him, and the MST3K line was the MST3K line was, what the hell was that?
All right. So given the fact we have a lot in our chat and we are already an hour and a half into the show tonight, to prevent us from going 4 hours, I guess we're going to try to do like a version of rapid fire, but not exactly. Like first thought process that comes to mind, I guess we'll see what happens. Spencer says, Jay, Quentin had a very smart interview saying streaming movies just come and go. He mentioned Ryan Reynolds being in the movie and saying no one sees this movies.
I saw that.
That was great.
I feel vindicated. I feel vindicated. And I feel proud that he's my favorite director. A lot of positive feelings came out of that interview.
Shouts out to Rick Dalton, by the way.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I feel about streaming movies too. 5:30, Josie says, "Hey, Popcast team. Hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend."
I mean, I don't mark it, so no.
And he just disappears after that. So I was like, yeah, starting Ashley. Yeah, I guess it's a good weekend if you like roller coasters, pop punk, Lady Gaga, and AEW. That's pretty much how my Memorial Day weekend went. Recent read, the view. Go ahead, AJ.
I want to throw out one more Disney song.
Okay.
The Canine Crunchies jingle.
Oh my god.
Anyway, continue.
There's so many. We could do that. We could do an entire show on that, honestly. The View from Saturday by L. Konigsberg. Tomorrow Will Be Better by Betty Smith, and Skellig by David Allman. All good stuff. Spencer says Zachary Levi should play Ronald McDonald because he is a clown in Shazam 2.
I still haven't. I'm going to now that it's on Max, but I haven't watched Shazam 2 yet. But I'm dreading it.
I didn't watch the first one. Not watching this one.
The first one's really good.
I don't have time.
Yeah. But I'm also superheroed out because the first one came on TBS recently, and I immediately changed it because it's like I'm just really done with superheroes right now.
Well, apparently I have good things about. I'm hearing good things from a friend of mine that went to a screening recently that another superhero movie, which I actually do care about seeing, which comes out next month, is doing quite well. So I enjoy it. Maybe not exactly what I want out of it, but at least there's partial things there. And I'm going to leave it at that. Josie's first time watching since last show. 1995's Heavy, Swedish Love Story, Safe from 1995, Nothing But a Man, David and Lisa, Identity, Tommy Tricker and the Stamp Traveler, Birth, Bugsley Malone, and I Wish.
There are a few pretty trippy ones in there.
Yes. Just finished The Hitcher. Tonight is Freeway. Can't remember the title. Gonna do the verses tonight. Any thoughts on those titles?
The Hitcher's going to come back
Yep.
in October, actually, in a different way.
Correct.
And I'll leave that at that.
He's going to be checking out the Unstoppable Pelham verses next.
Oh, that should be fun.
By the way, great job on Pan versus Hook. Intelligent and thoughtful, one of my favorite movies. Great attitude. Love the references to other movies, old and new.
That was a great outlet. I'd been preparing my whole life to talk about Hook in depth.
Yes, you have. We've talked about Hook like in between trivia games of Buffalo Wild Wings in the past. I recall those conversations. Spencer asked thoughts on Elemental's low reuse out of can. Lowest since Cars 2. Feel like this is a retread of Soul and Inside Out. Just by the look of it, but I mean, it looks fine.
We had a whole conversation about how I feel about animated movies.
Yep.
So
Rewind
that's where I'm
at. Spencer says, "Rest in peace to Tina Turner."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Thanks.
didn't realize how old she was. That kind of surprised me.
Crazy, isn't it? Thank goodness we have Angela Bassett's performance and the music catalog of Tina Turner. May she live on in our hearts. Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be surprised now if the stage musical might now get extrapolated out to a film as well. Because like some of the shit she went through
100%.
bike is worthy of a biopic. That's like a musical style version.
Yeah, I was gonna say you mean another biopic?
Yeah. Well, you know, we've had. I mean, Elvis was a
Spencer
musical biopic, right?
Kind of. Spencer has a request for you and Chris. AJ, can you make another defending superhero movies most people hate video?
Ooh.
Did we not get them all in that one?
Chime in, Spencer.
Because the question is, what are hated superhero movies that we can defend? Because there's a moment in that video where one of the ones we brought up was X-Men Origins.
Mm-hmm.
And like we went to go talk about it and we were like, oh shit, there's not a lot to defend. We thought there would be.
Spencer's count for Pacific Heights. This is topical. 50. 50 viewings as of today, and Frailty hit 20.
Pacific Heights is
At
about
the
to
rate
grow.
we're going, at the rate we're going, there's going to at least be a 51st by 2 weeks' time.
At the rate we're going, you will see Pacific Heights for time where I am contacted about future endeavors. Hopefully not. Copland is freaking amazing, says Spencer Reed.
Yes, it is.
Not
Was
incorrect.
that when we were having our James Mangold discussion?
Apparently.
I think probably. Time-wise, that might be about right.
Thoughts on Against All Odds.
It's fine. I loved it. Like I was at a point in time when I discovered that movie that I was like all about Jeff Bridges and James Woods, and I didn't know they'd done a movie together. So I was like, so my hype was kind of through the roof when I was. It's a pretty basic movie, but if you're like as big a fan of the two of them as I am, that's gonna be what really carries it. But yeah, just seeing them and being on like opposite sides. But it's a satisfying experience as a fan of them, but it's a pretty basic movie.
Okay. Josie says David and Lisa from 1962, a mental institution set love story about a boy with a fear if he touches people he'll die, who falls in love with a girl with a split personality. One mute, the other can speak and rhyme.
Yeah, that is Keir Delay, I believe. That movie also got a director nomination. That's one of the ones that came to mind when I said that's a trippy group.
Funny you mentioned that because apparently
visuals are wild.
You mentioned Keir by name. It is officially his birthday today.
Nice.
Tommy Tricker and the Stamp Traveler. A boy shrinks and travels the world through stamps and envelopes. This sounds like something that I'd be watching as an animated short for the Oscars.
It also sounds like something that would happen in real life in the mind of Hunter S. Thompson.
Accurate. Josie says, as far as Cannes take a shot, Cannes News, Martin Amis, the author of the Zone of Interest novel, died during the festival.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Sucks.
The really annoying thing is one of his best books was London Fields. And the less said about that atrocity that was filmed, the better.
I like the word less said when we're already almost 2 hours into the show.
No, but like
Spencer
especially
says,
for that film, less said.
All right. Hate wishing for the failure of a movie, but The Flash deserves to fail in tank. Ooh, Spencer, we are totally not on the same page with that one. We're actually not in the same book. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure you checked it out at Josie's library, and I bought the book on Amazon.
Yeah.
Completely different planes of existence right here.
I'm gonna say about that statement what Ezra Miller should have been saying from the get-go. I'm not touching that.
Fair assessment. Just as long as it's a Batman movie, that's all that matters. It just happens to have another character as the main character. It doesn't matter. Batman's still in the movie. It's all that matters. Thoughts on the last Mimsy?
I only saw it when it came out, and I thought it was really fucking dumb.
Yep.
I haven't seen it since, so I don't know. The main thing I associate with it now is when what's the Family Guy joke? Was it Marley Matlin that was trying to get? She was on like movie phone and she was trying to get times for the last Mimsy, and they kept thinking she said 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing I associate with the last Mimsy now.
God dang it. Hi, Cassie. Thoughts on The Bodyguard?
It's fun. fine. If it didn't have its soundtrack, I don't think anybody would remember it.
Yep, agreed.
Thank God Dolly Parton
But it's
wrote songs.
fine.
That's all I'm saying.
Up Dolly Parton in general.
And it's cool to see. Is The Bodyguard's the one where the climax is at the Oscars, isn't it?
Yep.
That's pretty cool to have like a thriller and the climax is at the Oscars.
Thoughts on the Simpsons movie?
I saw it, but I don't really remember it because when I saw it, I had no context because I haven't watched The Simpsons. I've seen a few episodes from when my brother was watching it, but
I feel it was. I mean, obviously, it's still going today and probably will never die. But at the end of the day, even most fans will agree that it was way late into the series to be as impactful as it could have been when the Simpsons were on top of the world.
would it have been? Would the ideal time have been sometime in the 90s?
100%. The beginning of the 90s, the Simpsons movies would have broke box office records. Guaranteed.
I mean, the coincidence
I'm
is, of course,
surprised. In
past
retrospect, I'm kind of
weekend.
surprised.
This past weekend was the 25th anniversary of. Is it Phil Silver's passing? No, Phil Hartman's passing,
Yes,
and like
which we
he
talked
was,
about earlier.
you know, he was such like spirit and soul of quite a lot of the key Simpsons characters that if you'd have got
God,
him,
yes.
if you'd have got him like in those mid '90s, you would have had a lot more impetus than what you got. And to be fair, the Simpsons game I think is a better story than the Simpsons movie, even though it's playing the same thing and trying to parody a lot of things.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised the release of Beavis and Butthead Do America didn't like push it into a late 90s production.
it should have.
We got the South Park movie instead.
It struck when the iron was hot, so South Park was fine. Everything else seems like it's after its due date. Like for example,
Yeah.
like we're now if we get a Rick and Morty movie down the line, it's probably going to be past the time that it was as well as it could have been.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember like the Simpsons movie just kind of felt like it came out, it was kind of a big deal, and then it went away. But I remember when the South Park movie came out, it was massive. But I know a lot of that also had to do with the fact that we'd get to see those characters for the first time.
Certainly. Well, I mean, there was cursing in the Simpsons movie. That was a big selling point, and the fact that they turned a lot of 7-Elevens to Quickie Marts, like full functional Quickie Marts, to promote the movie.
Yeah, I feel like it says something that I remember the ads for the Simpsons movie more than I remember the movie itself.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Like I remember, like the Spider Pig thing, obviously, and the Rock in a Hard Place joke, and that's all fucking trailer stuff.
It's annoying that we can't say that Spider Pig was the inspiration for the pig in Spider-Verse. Because turns out there was a pig somewhere in the comic books because they're crazy.
Spider Ham, voiced by John Mulaney.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Porker.
So freaking good. All right, favorite HBO made-for-TV movie? The answer is The Late Shift. For me,
First one that comes to mind is like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Was The Last Seduction HBO?
I believe so. Yes.
Gia was pretty. I know Gia's mainly known for one thing, but
Yeah.
it's one of her best performances too. So I remember that movie. That movie had like emotional staying power.
And My
Because Elizabeth
answer's,
Mitchell's really good at it.
my answer's obvious because I was amazed that it was a TV movie. Behind the Candelabra.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I saw it twice at the cinema. If I'd known it was a TV movie,
I was
I'd
gonna say-
just waited to see it on stream.
I was gonna say I thought you guys got it theatrically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got BAFTA nominations.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah, because it wasn't a TV film over here. So when everybody was like, "What? Why is this movie that never came out in the cinemas in the BAFTAs?" And I'm like, "Because you're idiots." Um,
That's fair.
I think Bad Education would have also done well in front of a movie audience rather than a TV movie.
Oh, yes, that is amazing.
A lot of those
Still
ones that
Sam
HBO put up
Baker
on
got a
Memorial Day.
performance.
I think as well. What the fuck was the I think the Gathering Storm was an HBO with Albert Finney. Or am I thinking the other political one, the Special Relationship with the introduction of Michael Sheen as Tony Blair?
Trying to find another one. I find the title of it, so it's apparently doesn't exist in life, so we're good with that. Yeah. Okay. I can go with it. Sugar Time.
What?
Sugar Time is the story of the Maguire sisters, and it's John Turturro in it.
Hmm.
It's solid too, but the answer is The Late Shift. Duh. Josie says, just so you know, Tommy Tricker and the Stamp Traveler is live action. Interesting. Brian's guilty pleasure is A Tale of Two Kitties.
God.
Dear God. And Brian says the Simpsons movie was close to being my viewer's choice pick. All right. And we are moving on. Favorite fight scene in a movie?
Well, now that we're in a post the Raid and John Wick universe, that's a little harder to narrow down than it once was.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I love the final fight in the Raid 2 with Hammer Girl and Baseball Batman.
Oh, yeah.
I've always.
The Raid, by the way.
It's a little too CGI heavy these days, noticeably CGI heavy these days, but I always loved the Wesley Snipes Luke Ghost fight at the end of Blade 2. Yeah, like my definitive answers would be like, you know, that hallway fight in the Raid 2, or the kitchen fight in the Raid 2, or the fight with Mad Dog in the first Raid. That it's hard to not say those.
I'm trying to stay away from stuff like that. And I'm going to say that I really enjoy Antonio Banderas and Woody Harrelson in the end of Play It to the Bone.
That's a good answer. It's an
That
unconventional
fight-
answer too. Since it's
That's
technically-
probably one of the best boxing matches I've ever seen on the big screen.
The best one that I didn't see coming, but just because spy films hadn't told us to do it like that, was Born Identity, which makes me always worried about big biros. That one's bit.
But now that you brought boxing into the equation, once again, I know it feels like an obvious answer, but the first, well, both fights between Rocky and Apollo.
Yeah.
The one in Rocky 2 is especially good because you genuinely don't know how it's going to turn out.
True.
Where it's like if you're watching the fight in Rocky 1, it becomes clear about halfway through that fight that Apollo's going to beat him.
Yeah.
but it's still amazing to watch because of the whole he just has to keep standing. But they're just so well done too. So
Okay. Spencer, Josie, go ahead, Ashley.
I'd also acknowledge the final bit from the first Matrix. The Smith and Neo fight at the end of that.
that one's good. Also, the one where he fights Morpheus in training.
Yeah.
Okay. We move forward. Josie says her guilty pleasure movie, Pokemon 2000 and LXG. Fight me.
I wish. I was having this conversation with my brother recently. I wish I could get into LXG, and I just can't.
Also fair. All right. Favorite scene of a principal talking to a student? Love Gilbert Gottfried talking to Dennis the Menace.
Do you mean Problem Child?
Yeah, I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, because we never see Dennis the Menace. Well, I'm only thinking of the one movie, but I don't recall ever seeing Dennis the Menace in school. I don't think a menace would go to school. But...
Wow, that's a great line from the night. That's what the tagline of the show would be if we were marking it. I don't think a menace would go to school. As AJ.
But yes, the interactions between Junior Healy and Gilbert Gottfried are gold. Every time.
It's not principal, but
I think Rooney and Ferris is a good.
Oh, go ahead, Owen.
I think Rooney and Ferris is a good answer.
You know what's crazy is the only scene Rooney and Ferris have together. Ferris never says anything.
Nope. He doesn't have to say anything because the comment is favorite principal talking to a student.
Oh, that's wow! You took that real literally.
The definition of that statement right there. Obviously, the Breakfast Club comes to mind too.
I don't think it's a principal.
Why am I struggling with this question?
I don't think it's a principal, but the Woody Harrelson, what's her name? From the Age of 17. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a teacher.
Yeah. He was a teacher. Okay. We must press forward.
Yeah, there's the Gilbert Gottfried and Rooney were two answers that work, so we'll go with them.
I'd say
no.
What the Chariots of Fire, when the student meets the faculty bosses because they clearly don't think he's a good enough runner.
Yeah, that works.
Spencer says no need to fight on both of those. Favorite scene of an old man giving advice to a younger kid?
Well, we just talked about Angus. That has plenty of great ones.
That's a quintessential answer. We don't need to elaborate further, unless you have a better one.
Home Alone.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh yeah, that's a great one actually.
And Home Alone too, really, with Brenda Fricker.
Yep. Ashley, concur? Response quickly?
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head other than.
There's been a lot of John Hughes in the past two questions.
And my apologies for us having my apologies for us having to rush, given the fact that I canceled the chat at like 7, and we still are nowhere near being done. So
yeah. Like I was sitting here thinking, like, if the latest is 9, that would be fantastic.
yeah, I'm working on that. May have to make some new ground rules next time we do a show. Favorite scene of a food fight? Josie says Bugsy Malone sort of has a food fight.
Yeah.
Well, we just mentioned Hook.
Yeah. Ashley, answer.
What this brings me back to a guilty pleasure movie.
Okay.
Max Keeble's Big Move, I would consider a guilty pleasure movie.
That's fair.
Like the whole cast of that movie is gold, but Larry Miller especially. Oh my god.
I'm tossed up. It's a toss up like between Blazing Saddles or
The Great Race.
stupid food fight that happens when the world's about to end at the end of Casino Royale.
I'm gonna go with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And I will not be taking any further questions. First time watches, identity trivia. So one character claims to take a shot, have written the poem Antigonish by William Hughes Mearns. The poem was turned into a popular song, giving it widespread attention. It goes, when I was going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away. Go ahead.
Which is also the closest line of the movie.
Yes, it is. Several endings filmed in order to shroud the real conclusion in secrecy. John Cusack and Amanda Peet later went on to play the lead roles in one of my least favorite movies of all time, 2012. Cusack plays a driver in both movies. Leota's. Go ahead, AJ.
One of your least favorite movies being 2012. Was that you saying that or Josie saying that?
I was saying that.
Addendum from Owen.
Darn right. If I'm not going to be on camera, I'm going to say something. Leota's character asked where he was heading with his con. He said Carson City. And of course, John Cusack in Con Air was taking over a plane in Carson City. So, very cool. Spencer says at 6:14, Pacific Heights. I freaking love Chris. Yay! There wasn't enough A's there. It's not Randy. There's only 5 A's, not 8. Marshall Bell and Jake Busey were both in Starship Troopers. And Starship Troopers was Paul Verhoeven's favorite movie of his own.
Interesting.
Apparently, NPH was called Doogie Himmler with his military intelligence form as a bore resemblance to the SS uniforms. That's
Are we
hilarious.
the bad guys?
Hey, I just say it. It's just there, unless it's like
I know. That's
I'm
why
like
that's why I'm just quoting the Mitchell and Webb meme that always does the rounds because somebody gifted it and turned it into the "Are we the bad guys" gif. But people don't know what TV show it's from. But I do.
I shoot have no idea what you're talking about. I have plausible deniability.
He's I'm just saying this to further confuse you because it's funny. He's old Goosebump Arm's husband. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having a rough week, and I just don't need to be confused than I currently am. Verhoeven admits to never finished the novel. He read through the first few chapters, became bored and depressed. He says it's a very right-wing book.
Yeah, so you can tell by how he made the movie, and yeah, he made the right call. That he made the movie better by quitting on the book.
Apparently, Marky Mark was supposed to play Johnny Rico, but he turned it down.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Oh my God. It totally. Which fictitious movie or television judge would you like to see have their own TV show in the vein of Judge Judy? Because we're talking about Josie watching Anatomy of the Fall recently.
Justice.
We have a choice. We have a choice. This is a pick one.
Oh.
Elihu Smalls from Caddyshack, Kipler in The Rainmaker, Sorokin in The Hurricane, Harper and Miracle on 34th Street, and Judge Holler from My Cousin Vinny. Hayward from Judgment at Nuremberg, Morrissey from People vs. Larry Flint, Taylor from To Kill a Mockingbird, and Roy Bean, or Judge Dredd.
It's got to be Fred Gwynn and My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, I can't go against Herman Munster for any reason.
I'll be tempted to see not Stallone Dread, but Urban Dread. Like, you know, the sentence is death. I can't shoot you. Shit. Otherwise...
Favorite scene in a back alley?
Go ahead.
Otherwise...
No, it was a train of thought.
I had something there, but now it's gone.
Exactly.
Favorite scene in back alley?
Some of the portions of Skid Row and Little Shop of Horrors, I guess.
That's a good one.
I'm
gonna go with it. Will.
Which is the one with Steve
There's
McQueen having the dice game in the back alley?
What was the model number of the steel strimmer that you went after?
He asks that question and disappears.
Of course. Ashley, have an answer?
Oh wait, did it not come out? No, it's working. I was trying to remember what the Steve McQueen scene when he plays the dice game at the start. I'm trying to think which one that is. Hang on, let me. I won't go to Google, but that one, because it sort of sets the tone.
I mean, I'm good with An American Werewolf in London, but I can't turn down the literal location of Sting Alley. So the Sting is definitely an answer here.
Yeah.
Batman.
This is going to be one of those questions where I think of a million of them after we're done.
It's funny because one immediately popped into my head that I was ashamed of immediately. But if I look at the IMDb list, it's actually the number 2 answer. I'll let you look it up and figure it out yourself.
Oh, I think it might have been the Cincinnati Kid.
That is not the answer I went with.
No,
but yes.
for
I was
mine.
going to say that because that's the only one I can think of. That was the only gambling one I could think of with him.
Favorite scene in an attic?
Now and Then comes to mind.
Now and Then is a great answer, actually. Because there's good answers to go with that are not in the horror genre if you can help it.
Yeah, my mind kind of immediately jumped to horror first.
Yeah. The one that sort of I was thinking about was, well, Red Dragon. Ray finds Dolarhyde.
Oh yeah.
The amazing jump scare in Lee Whannell's Invisible Man with the white paint is incredible.
That is the first thing that anybody is talking about in this entire list. Okay. Moving forward, because we still have
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Go ahead.
We're all idiots. Christmas Vacation.
That's the other answer that most people said.
Yeah, that should have literally been the first answer.
God. Josie says people purposely and deliberating hating on Wes Anderson do it because they're ashamed of liking his films because they think it's too basic. It's so disingenuous.
Oh my god, we have so long to go, don't we? The Wes Anderson was so long ago.
Surprisingly not.
Dude, this is stuff from 6:18 p.m. This is
From
what
where the
happens when
bar
we
is
get
on the
on
thing, I think
tangents.
we're about 2/3 to 3/4, so it's...
Oh, that's right, you did,
We hope
you did cut it off at 7, that's right. Okay.
I did cut it off at 7. I'm about to start cutting it off at 6:30 at this rate. Don't think we don't love questions in chat. It's just we can't really go 3 hours every single time we do this.
Well, it's also I do think it's a little on us. We do move a little slow. We've taken a lot of time on something.
Some guys that Rocco and Rocco's Modern Life work for a phone sex hotline. I don't think it's a theory. I think it's a shoot. How funny if he got on the same phone line as Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love.
Isn't that the one where Rocco's saying? Isn't that the one where Rocco's saying like oh baby," into the phone?
Yes. And Mrs. Big Head calls him. Oh my god. I love Rocco. Rocco was great. Speaking of addicts, favorite scene in a crawl space?
Well, Breaking Bad, obviously.
I can't answer that.
The episode title is literally Crawl Space. It's fucking Cranston's Joker moment.
Nice.
I'm tempted either between Matrix or Sicario.
Favorite factory scene in a movie or favorite movie set in factory? Wayne's World 2. AJ, you know about a short story that Stephen King wrote? I believe it's called The Mangler. With England.
What was that?
The Mangler, about the factory and the press that like hurt people.
There's a video for it on this channel. The story, the movie with Robert Englund. We talked about it.
That's when I'd have out. Obviously, the answer is Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Duh.
Yeah. Okay. So glad you said Willy Wonka because for some reason the only thing I could think about was the sex scene in 8 Mile, and I don't know why.
Oh God.
But yes, Willy Wonka. Definitely Willy Wonka's the answer.
The ending of An Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah.
Favorite motel scene in a movie?
Psycho.
Psycho's yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just go with Tommy Boy? Or Vacation? Or Vacation?
That's a good one too. Yeah.
It was Joyride, actually. Now I think about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say once again, like addicts, the first thing I thought of was just horror movies. That's because we
Psycho
were talking about
Video.
identity too.
Favorite flag scene in the movie?
Flag scene.
Just celebrated Memorial Day after all, so it makes sense.
Bruce Dern's introduction in The Burbs.
Jesus. Ashley, you have an answer?
Not off the top of my head.
I mean,
Up the middle, Forrest Gump or Rocky.
I mean, it's like we could be really honest and say flags of our fathers, I guess. That's got a pretty famous flag scene, doesn't it?
Team Police. Favorite scene on a roof? Last Action Hero.
That's exactly where I went first.
Ghostbusters.
John McTiernan and Owens would say Die Hard as well.
Yes.
Ghostbusters is a good one, yeah.
I'm
Showing my
surprised
bias
that
in different ways.
I am surprised that Owen didn't go with his obvious pick.
Dogma?
I did not hit that. It's not true. I did not hit that.
Oh
I did
God,
not.
The Room, yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah.
Well, Owen, you were also on the right track there. Not Dogma, but think hockey.
Yeah, any of the Clerks movies, actually speaking, it counts. Speaking of that, I saw a guy the other day who walked by my stand while I was working outside wearing a Clerks 3 hat, and I was going to give him express passes if he would have showed up, but because that's an act of kindness. I'm giving him like something to be nice.
Oh God.
I'm being nice.
I just realized something else for addict scenes I totally could have said.
Go ahead.
So hands.
Yeah. Actually, Rent's a good answer for a roof scene too.
Empire Records has a couple.
Yep. Rouge. Angel encounter scene in a movie. Dogma.
I mean, obviously, It's a Wonderful Life's going to be the definitive answer.
Yeah, of course.
You know, One Desire. But yes, let's do singling out a scene specifically in Dogma. Are we going with the train scene or
Yes.
the climax or Scott Mosier on the bus?
Mosier on the bus. Yeah. He shows his wedding ring. What do you think? Factory were to sell out and be bought by a major company in this age of corporate consolidation. Gee, many Christmas. Company would it be?
That's out of wheelhouse. If anybody else wants to take this.
I can't think of it. I can't think of who it is, but it's somebody that'd be like it's their last roll of the dice because they're languishing with doing sort of the same iniquities and stuff. So basically, they're just buying it as like an experimental thing to like get something that's going to be their next pitch chocolate bar or something. The irony, of course, there is an actual company called Wonka.
Yep.
Or at least there is there are like actual Wonka bars. I don't know who it is. Because if I just search Wonka chocolate, it's going to be...
I'm just going to cut out... Major company would be, like, you want to talk about chocolate brand? That's salmon or Mars or Hershey's. But if you want to talk about a company that doesn't have any stake in food at all, I'd say honestly, Wonka Factory would make sense if it was owned by Apple or Google. Had this thought the other day, said Josie. Is there a factory producing wands for witches, wizards, and fairies? That'd be cool.
Something's got to be doing.
I mean, it's possible. Great article.
I don't think that's all of Anders' like personal collection. So
No, of course not.
No, he gets the
Great art.
he gets the elves to make them.
Great line about a strike at such place. The Wage of Wands, IA company producing the wands for Hogwarts. It would produce wands for all the fairy godmothers. Then we get all these. Then we get all these odd questions, and every once in a while we get one that I'm like, huh? All right, fine. Spencer asks, favorite scene involving an old-fashioned vacuum.
what is old-fashioned exactly?
I don't know. I'd probably go with Blast from the Past.
Like, are we talking like? You said vacuum, right?
I did say vacuum.
Are we talking about like? Are we talking about like what Kirby is in the Revolt of Toaster? Or are we talking about like Primat in Coneheads, that kind of thing?
Coneheads is probably my go-to because of that scene.
Like, is that what we're calling old fashioned? I genuinely don't.
Yeah, Coneheads is an excellent answer to this, and I'm going to go with that.
We'll
The
go
only
with
one
it.
that comes to mind is Officer Doofy and the vacuum cleaner in Scary Movie 1.
I love you, Dave Sheridan, but dear God, don't want to think about that movie. He's always going to be Dave from Buzzkill to me. And if you don't know what Buzzkill is, YouTube Buzzkill. It was this prank show before prank shows were cool. Tyler Stone did a show called Con that lasted for a season that was basically one of those type of like a Sacha Baron Cohen thing before it became a thing. Favorite scene in a forest.
I guess technically as well, Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know whether that's seen as an old-fashioned one or not.
Oh, okay.
My first thought, when the fuck was Mrs. Doubtfire in a fort? The first thing I don't know if this is even my answer, but the first thing that came to mind was Dane DeHaan taking Bradley Cooper out into the woods in The Place Beyond the Pines.
That's a good one.
Oh, the forest one.
I'll go with Evil Dead.
Yeah. the whole movie.
Yep. Totally.
And the second one too.
What was the one that I
Ashley
really
question
liked from
answer.
a few years back? Oh, where the guys went off. It was the father and the daughter that were off grid.
Leave No Trace.
Yeah.
You could probably throw a lot of war movies in here too.
Yes.
I mean, I think a lot of those are technically like jungles, like Platoon and stuff, but I'd count them.
I mean, the ending of Inglourious.
That's a good one.
Actually. Yeah.
The chase scene in Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
On Endor.
All that listed on there. I have to throw out a shout out to Snow White. All right. Up next. Favorite scuba diving scene?
I don't feel like there's many. First two games were like Thunderball and Nemo, and they're not, neither one are like.
I was gonna say because
I mean, maybe Nemo's because it sets off the whole plot. But
I was gonna say sticking with Bond, but like the more serious way, and go with that scene in For Your Eyes Only, where they get the ATAC computer out of the ship and everything with that, and then like the happenstance of leaving a canister of air just nearby, so they only just about survive.
the heist in the opening scene of getting a remake is a good use of it. I think that's all that comes to mind.
So we've done forest, we've done scuba diving scene. Favorite scene of a knife fight?
I mean, Steven Seagal, but Under Siege would have to be up there.
Fair.
New York.
Honestly, I'm just have to go with West Side Story.
Yeah. I was just like, why haven't I said West Side Story yet?
There is. Oh, what was it? Rather than saying like the obvious stuff like John Wick or the Raid, was it The Hunted with Del Toro and Lee Jones, which wasn't a sequel to U.S. Marshals, honest. Even though it sort of felt like it at times. It's the unofficial trilogy.
Yeah, Under Siege and The Hunted. You wouldn't think so, but Tommy Lee Jones is your guy for knife fights.
Okay. It's another thing that's never been said on here before.
One of these right by my fucking head too, and I didn't even think of it.
Okay, oh man, Spencer, this is too late for this question. Most disgusting movie you've ever saw? No elaboration allowed.
Crazy.
That's my is.
I've seen. There's a lot of disgusting. Like you could say, like Dead Alive and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would throw. While we're on this topic, I would throw Meet the Feebles in there certainly.
Yep.
But if you ask me just right away to come up with an answer immediately, it's the first Hellraiser, and that's, and I mean that in like the most positive way possible.
Ashley.
Probably. I think it was just the first one that I saw, but the Human Centipede.
That's my answer too, and I can't think of any other answer that would work better.
All three of them.
Watch you pass the first one.
I also need to shout out Swiss Army Man. And unlike Hellraiser, I don't mean that in a positive way.
So Brian's talking about A24 going with Past Lives coming out this Friday. Buy one, rent one, lose one. Carolina. North and South. Blue Velvet, Bull Durham, Days of Thunder, George Washington, Nell, Radio, Doc Hollywood, Glory, Daughters of the Dust, Cape Fear, both of them.
Easy.
Get rid of.
I'm getting rid of Days of Thunder. I never cared for it.
Oh, you bastard!
Blue Velvet at the top, followed by Scorsese's Cape Fear.
I don't know what I get rid of.
Nell's not really that great either, but I just never cared for Days of Thunder.
I'll get rid of Nell. I would buy Blue Velvet and I'd rent Days of Thunder because I like Days of Thunder a lot. Kings Island used to have Thunder Simulator in the early 90s that has been long forgotten and long gone. And I remember riding that thing like 20 times in a row. And I remember like riding with the person and we turned into Flea and Anthony Kiedis from The Chase. We're doing the Monster Madness high five every single time we rode. That was great. I love Cape Fear. Cape Fear is a hard one to let go of. Favorite scene on a cliff?
Did I miss what was just said?
No.
We gotta go.
I
We gotta
hadn't
take it
given
home.
my predictions either. I ditched radio
Tier
because I
3,
hadn't
Ashley.
heard of it. I probably rent both the Cape Fears because they probably just show up in a double bill on a DVD set. I'd buy Blue Velvet. So yes, favorite scene on a cliff.
Okay.
The introduction to Timothy Dalton in The Living Daylights. Off Gibraltar.
AJ,
Oh.
do you have one?
I just realised
Go ahead.
free fucking solo.
I'm a sucker for The Good Son.
Yeah, same.
So every time I think of cliffs in movies, that's usually the first scene that comes to mind. Especially since it looks so. That scene was so well done. It looks so real. Because I think like it's. That scene was riskily done. Is why it looks so real.
I am saving all of the rest of his questions so we can do those this time
Mm-hmm.
because we have our Brian game to go through before we go home tonight. So Spencer, I'm saving every single one of your questions that's left, and you're going to kick off the show in 2 weeks. My apologies to Matt Damon. I think we're good on that. And I got, Josie, I have your flashbacks. I have saved those as well. So those are 100% good to go for next show. And my apologies for that. We just ran long, and that's what happens on a QA show sometimes. Real quick, Brian says, hold soundtrack and Princess and the Frog. I have all the songs on my iTunes. And thoughts on the August Criterion lineup and go into the game.
I've seen it yet.
So August 8th we have Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. August 15th, Dim Sum, A Little Bit of Heart from Wayne Wang. Bo Widerberg's New Swedish Cinema collector's set on the 22nd. And then Colleen Smith's Dry Long So. Weiderberg's new Swedish cinema collection is Elvira Madigan, The Baby Carriage, Raven's End, and Adeline 31.
It's a lot of stuff I've been wanting to get caught up. I haven't. So right now I'm neutral, but I'm psyched that we'll have nice new access to them.
So we had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 questions, which we're saving for next time. Josie has the Cannes flashback from 1993, as well as the Oscar flashback from 1974. They're going to be talked about in 2 weeks. Just like do, Spencer, thank you for giving your questions. We appreciate that, and we will get to them in 2 weeks. My apologies for us having to go longer tonight than usual. But it's game time. 1980s costume design. Rapid fire. 1980. The Elephant Man. My Brilliant Career. Somewhere in Time. When Time Ran Out. Or The Winner. Tess.
I'm going to be up front right now. There's a good chance I'm going to steer away from a lot of period options because it's just too obvious.
Agreed.
Like sometimes when like the Elephant Man would probably be my choice here because it's going to technically be period, but I think there's something about not just how the black and white like enhances it, taking into account they had to factor in when they were designing that it was going to be black and white, which I find interesting. So yeah, like something like that is like, yeah, of course. So that's what I'd go against.
Okay, Ashley, pick.
Elephant Man.
Elephant Man. 1981, year I was born. Chariots of Fire is the winner. Or would you go with Pennies from Heaven, Ragtime, Reds, or The French Lieutenant's Woman?
I mean, despite being basically all period, looking at that lineup, I can't help but think Chariots of Fire's win was a coattail win.
Mm-hmm.
Because I definitely pick like Pennies from Heaven or Ragtime over it easily.
Same.
Probably Pennies from Heaven. I think those stand out a little more. I can't get too specific on costume because that's just not an area I know much about, but that's what I would think.
Ashley, your response?
Stick with Chariots of Fire.
Either Pennies from Heaven or Ragtime. Just to be Ragtime. 1982, Gandhi won. Or would you choose La Traviata, Victor Victoria, Tron, or Sophie's Choice?
I feel like half of these are going to be Zeffirelli movies.
Especially this early.
Tron is inspired, but I don't pick it.
Right.
And Gandhi's a little too obvious, so I'd probably say Victor Victoria stands out the most, actually.
Same. Ashley.
I'd probably stick with Gandhi, but I was either that or Tron.
Okay. 1983, Alexander won. Or would you choose Cross Creek, Heart Like a Wheel, The Return of Martin Gurr, and Zelig?
Zelig's another one where it's like knowing they had to account for black and white kind of comes into play. I'd probably go ahead and stick with Fane and Alexander because Fane and Alexander has a massive ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many fucking characters in that movie, all of which have pretty distinguished costumes. So I guess based on that, that's another one where it's like it seems like the obvious choice, but I could see why this time. So
Ashley.
Yeah, I'd stick with Fanny Alexander as well.
1984, Amadeus. Or would you choose Estonians, Passage to India, Places in the Heart, or 2010?
2010 feels inspired, but I feel like most of the costumes are just like the uniforms. So this is another case where it's like, yes, it's a period movie and it's so obvious, but Amadeus does feel right. So
Same.
Yeah, Amadeus as well.
1985, Ran won. Or would you choose The Color Purple, The Journey of Out of Africa, or Prizzy's Honor?
I do think Ron is the right choice. That's a really good lineup, though. Even if it's a lot of period costumes, that's a really good lineup. But I do think Ron is definitely the best choice all around.
Ashley.
Kurosawa. For sure. Stick with Ran.
Don't really have a horse in this race. 1986, A Room with a View. Othello, Peggy Sue Got Married, Pirates, or The Mission?
That's the Zeffirelli Othello, right?
I would say so.
And Pirates is the movie, right? I think so. I would say Pirates because those would have to be more creative. But then again, with Peggy Sue, you're looking at having to do two different decades, the 80s and the 60s.
Sure.
So I'd go with one of the. I guess I'd say Peggy Sue Got Married, but it'd be one of those two.
Ashley.
Maybe The Mission. It's close between that and Room with a View.
I'll go with Peggy Sue. 1987, Last Emperor, The Dead, Empire of the Sun, Maurice, or The Untouchables?
I'm tempted by The Untouchables. I think mainly because Capone's costumes kind of stand out, but everything else doesn't. Emperor begrudgingly. Even though it's
I'll go
also
with
painfully obvious.
Ashley.
Empire of the Sun.
I will go with The Untouchables. 1988, Dangerous Liaisons, Coming to America, A Handful of Dust, Sunset, or Tucker, the Man in His Dream?
That's an interesting choice because the movie kind of sucks. But I love Coming to America's nomination. Dangerous Liaisons does. No, Dangerous Liaisons is a deserving winner, but I'll say Coming to America.
I'll say Coming to America.
I'll stick with Dangerous Liaisons.
And 1989, Henry V, Adventures of Baron Munchausen, Driving Miss Daisy, Harlem Nights, or Valmont?
That's really. I forgot Dangerous Liaisons and Valmont were only a year apart. That's one. Yeah, I love that Eddie Murphy's here 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I get it and everything, but this is one of those categories where it's like Baron Munchausen feels like the real choice. Like it feels like this one's like one of the easiest.
Ashley.
Yeah, Munchausen for me.
All right. And that's the 80s. Choose a category and decade. We have original song, makeup and hair, original score, sound, visual effects. And remember, we can't count the decade we are.
I'll give you homework for the next month, Bri. In 2 weeks' time, we do scores from the 2000s. And then in 4 weeks' time, we do songs from the 90s.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. Jump on both of those categories.
I wanted to do songs for the 2000s, but there's too many that are like only like 2 or 3 songs there, where it's a bit too much. Plus, by doing that, it also avoids score getting complicated by having dramatic score and not dramatic score when they split that up for a few years.
So we got 12 questions from Spencer Reed, which are going to kick off the show in 2 weeks. And Josie's flashbacks of Cannes and the Oscars are going to be following it up. And that's before we even get started with anything. That'll be back on your normal day and time for 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that Monday for a QA show. And before then, let's make the official announcement.
Yeah. It all,
Spencer Reed, you will want to be here on that Sunday because this panel is talking rights.
Yeah, and with a late flurry of votes, the end of June will see us discussing Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Nice.
And then by the order that came in, somehow, I'm not last. Some idiot decided to click on mine before yours, Owen. So, 4th of July weekend, we're doing Rise and Rise of Michael Rimmer. So, the summer holidays, I guess, technically begin at the end of July with Snake Eyes.
All right. Dead last. Fits the way things have been going lately.
I would not have, with the combination of Page and De Palma, I would not have expected that.
I hope there are not some marks that thought I was talking about G.I. Joe.
Oh God.
Well, no, I said it was the
That's a
1998 one, unless there was a lesser known 98 Snake Eyes that wasn't the.
Oh boy. Yeah, it fits the way things are going. So yeah, we'll be talking Pacific Heights officially on Sunday, June 4th. No, 11th.
11th.
June 11th will be our next Popcast Movie Club, episode 31 for Pacific Heights, and June 12th will be our next QA show. So it is written, so it shall come to pass. If you know, you know. So, Ashley can be found on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK. You're going to see him pop up a lot more lately in the months of June moving on. More gaming content, maybe a Twitch stream or two if that ends up working out the way I want it to. Definitely some snack stashes and some other stuff as well. So he's the first person to tackle Prime on this network, not me. So don't get me wrong, you'll probably still get a sip and snack from me from Prime, but not quite yet. So now we actually have content, so we don't have to jump to it immediately. AJ, of course, can be found on no forms of social media, but if you'd like to leave him a comment, you're able to do so on any video that he does, or if you do like others have been done in the past video, and we'll get to it eventually. So it doesn't matter if it's a voices video or my sip and snack. Just if you leave a comment about AJ, well, I'll make sure that if it's good, we'll get it back, AJ. So that's no problem at all. Which means his next movie review of a thrilling side when it comes to 3 films from this past year. 3 horror, thriller, adjacent movies that I all enjoyed for different reasons. So unless AJ wants to keep it secret, we're going to let you find that out when the video comes out later this week.
Spaced out for a second. Are you talking about the review video?
Yeah.
It's Cocaine Bear, Knock at the Cabin, and Missing.
Said all three movies I enjoyed for different reasons. AJ's got, if you like verses, you're going to want to stay tuned to the fall. I'll put it that way. If you like old content, you might want to stay tuned to the fall as well. And if you like old segments from the past, you might want to stay tuned to the fall. And I'm not going to elaborate any further than that. Stay tuned.
Last night, editing the video that's going to go out on Halloween.
Very nice. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at Sir Owen Disney. Check out our Discord if you so choose to. Link in the description bar below. Hopefully, I have some good news to share with you guys. I guess we'll see what happens. Thanks to our live chat for joining us. As always, you're literally the backbone of this podcast, because if it wasn't for your questions, comments, and queries, we wouldn't have a show. So, thank you again. In the meantime, stream intellectual property. Have the best day ever. And until next time, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.